Tempest is going to take the series.
Yeah, I think if anyone has a chance, it's SPT. But at the same time, Korea has been dominant this tournament for a reason, right? When it comes down to it, they are delivering when it comes to mechanics and actually forcing these wins.
It's just so weird to me that SPT of all teams did not only completely body CE in the last match they played, but is also the team that we're looking to and we're saying, hey, they have a chance. Since they are the team that plays with a sub.
Yeah.
So you would expect them to struggle a lot more, but they're actually doing really well. They stated in the interview, though, that there's still some communication issues that they have with their sub, so it's still not everything 100% smooth. But since they played the last time, there has been a whole day, so they could just try and improve communication. If they manage to improve even more compared to yesterday, maybe they have it in them to cause a bit of an upset here.
Well, hold the phone, because an upset in drafts right
yeah,
here.
Well, I mean, Tempest has held the phone for quite a while on this one. Maiev is available. I think that's where SPT is trying to tease a little bit. Tempest has prioritized Genji in this slot every single time. This will be the fourth time with first pick today that they lock in Genji as their first hero. This leaves SPT, as was left to KSV Black earlier on, Maiev. Maiev was taken with Junkrat on that Towers of Dew game earlier today. I don't know if SPT will take the Junkrat this highly, but Maiev just feels too good to pass up at this point.
She has been quite dominant this tournament. Most of the time we've been seeing a lot of the Korean teams picking it up. SPT for sure could move into her and then pick up a support as well.
Now, there's a couple of things to note here, too, because it's not only that Maiev went through the bans, but also it was Nubarak that got banned out. And I think that's a ban that I was expecting for quite some time, because Tempest in particular is incredibly strong with him. 3-0 currently with the Nubarak in their play, and most of the Korean teams have shown a proficiency for that hero. So as expected, Maiev now being picked up. This is, by the way, only the 5th time that we see her in an actual game. She's banned out in more than 80% of the games at this point. She's been played 4 times, won 3 out of those 4 games, and this is going to be match number 5 for her.
Yeah, I mean, they take it with the same Junkrat pairing that we saw throughout most of the times Maiev was picked, including earlier today. I just want to keep going back to the KSV Black series. They crushed with the composition that they had. This gives you a lot of early game presence with the tether that Maiev has, as well as Junkrat's concussive mine. In the 4-man, when you're rotating around down there, assuming Maiev is going to be a part of that for the early game, it's very easy to get picked, especially with some of your frontliners if they step over that line.
And you can't forget the Warden's Cage and the Riptire. Do we even have a name for that combo yet?
We can make one right now.
Yoink and Boink?
The Rip Cage? I don't know.
I like the Yoink and Boink. It
I was
rhymes.
just going to say Rip Cage, but
I didn't make it up. Totally wasn't me.
Malthael taken. Malthael's story in this tournament is also really interesting since he starts to become higher and higher priority for the teams that we are seeing draft here. He has been played 10 times and won 7 out of those 10 games, so highly successful currently in the tournament. Uther has the combo with Genji going for the Divine Shield with Dragon Blade here, even though we've seen teams dabble a little bit in the Divine Storm. The Divine Shield is still what you can expect with Malthael, with Genji. But Uther definitely the second strongest support that we currently see. Malfurion actually is still taking the crown here, the pole position. A 63% win ratio. Malfurion, especially of course with the Tracer combo, is just doing so well.
I feel like for SPT, you don't have your main tank yet, so this is an awkward ban because whatever you want to ban away from Tempest, you've also removed from yourself. You don't know what direction the tank is going to go in here. So removing damage, as this Hanzo is going to be the pick, is a little bit more realistic because you've already locked down one of your damages, and it's a good pairing in the Junkrat and the Maiev for the, what would you call it, the Yoink and Boink?
The Yoink and Boink.
Yeah, so, you know, removing the Hanzo that you never have no intention of using with this comp, and synergize with your comp, is a pretty smart move.
This is actually talking about smart moves here. Malfurion now banned out. You've already picked Uther for yourself, mainly because the synergy is just better with Genji and with Malthael compared to Malfurion as a healer on the side of Tempest. But then you ban out the second support, and now all of a sudden SPT is, of course, forced to deviate a bit. Doesn't mean that there aren't alternatives around, but with how impactful Malfurion has been at this tournament, it makes a lot of sense that Tempest tries to play a bit of a support game here and attempts to take the best one out of them.
What are we thinking in terms of tanks here? I was thinking maybe Johanna, 1, to take it away from Tempest, but 2, it's helpful on Dragon Share. Helps out with the combo for Maiev here. I
mean, it can be great as a hero to delay the mid-channel, for example. It can also help squat the shrines, but Junkrat already has a great amount of coverage for the mid lane. We've seen that a lot on this map, to where you basically don't put as much stake in controlling both shrines, but you actually just kind of try to soak experience and delay with Junkrat, especially in roaming comps. The early game presence that we talked about earlier with Maiev and Junkrat is now further put in by, or further amplified by the Garrosh, the Stukov. So the cage that we saw, this comp starts to feel very familiar. You make the cage, you've got the rip tire, the silence, the taunt. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this for SPT.
Yeah, it's definitely a wombo combo attempt here. And again, it just surprises. We talked about it yesterday, and it's true today here as well, that Garrosh is just so popular right now at the Eastern Clash here. This is his 11th game, but he's been involved in 81% of the draft, sometimes even banned out on the first position. Now Tempest, you mentioned Johanna a bit earlier. She fits for the position, she fits for the map. Picking her up here, together with that we see Li Ming, so a full double reset combo with Genji and Li Ming that we see for the Korean team. Pretty scary here.
And Johanna gives a little bit of extra wave clear to this as well, in terms of a main tank. You can always think about that as a big wave clear factor, but she adds that. I think one of the big reasons why Johanna is chosen here is because her Iron Skin can avoid most of the CCs that we're talking about when you come into the Stukov, the Garrosh, the Maiev.
The blinds against Maiev also great as well.
Yeah.
Trying to watch out for that binding coming in. And her just being in the front line, being able to reduce the amount of fear you have going to that comp is always great. But still, you look at SPT, and if they do find one target, that target is gone, especially in the early game.
Especially if they grab, you know, onto like an Uther, for example. Sure, he's somewhat tanky, but if he gets Concussive Mind away, there's just no way out. And I'm not even talking about the cage. I'm talking like early game, Uther's trying to come up and heal. Genji is overextended, and then suddenly Uther's the one who finds himself in trouble.
It's just so much displacement on the side of SPT. It's a complete ping-pong build that you have. You have Concussive Minds, you have Garrosh, you have Maiev. There's so many tools that they have. And with the Zera tool, they are now just trying to set it up, and we have actually seen pretty much the exact composition before.
This is literally the exact composition that KSV Black ran on Towers of Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, from start to finish, from Maiev to Zera tool, the exact same order, except they picked Stukov before Garrosh. That's the only difference. So
well, before we hop into this, I gotta ask you guys, who do you think's gonna win the entire series? For me, I'm going with Tempest. I mean, they're a little bit too scary right now. What about you?
Tempest, for sure. I mean, SPT has the better draft in this game for obvious reasons, I think, but in terms of the broader series, I'm going to have to go with Tempest.
Let me think about that. I think I'll go with Tempest.
He's going to follow the numbers.
They picked KSV Black. I'm like, look, it's the same draft color, but this is a different series.
I knew I messed something up. Yeah, KSV Black for me.
Well, you guys at home have also been having the chance to vote in the chat as you continue to let us know what you think will be winning. So we'll be checking in soon to see what exactly will be coming your way. But so far, it looks like the predictions are ready. We are getting a pretty close vote. Tempest here with a 56% over SPT's 44%.
I feel like that draft might have boosted the SPT votes a little bit.
Yeah, people look at it and it's like, I've seen this before. KSV, okay, you can't go wrong with that. But yeah, that surprises me slightly because at this point, SPT was the team that was so far the most successful out of the Chinese teams. But they still play with a sub. If they can pull that off, that would be amazing. But they are the clear underdog heading into the series.
I mean, Molly at least has been delivering in his role as that sub, right? I go back to Tomb of Spider Queen when he was playing that fall stat and how much control and discipline he has. So going on a Dragon Shower, I'm expecting great things from him. But again, it is against Tempest. Let's hop into it. I turn it over to you two.
You know, I mean, I feel like when we talk about Molly, just very briefly, it's interesting because he is a sub, and that makes a huge impact. And going into this tournament, when I found out that he was going to be subbing, my first thought was, I don't know if he can live up to the mechanical skill that we've seen from Xin Zhao. However, I feel like he certainly has, but there's always the question of how good is the synergy going to be, and that's something I don't think you can fix on a 3-day tournament. It's just not going to be the same. And we'll see if they can make this comp work. This is a very synergy-based composition. In order to make all those combos work that we were talking about, to chain all those CCs together, the communication has to be good.
But you also can expect them to be at least better than they did yesterday in terms of communication. Now they have a little bit more experience in the actual tournament environment, so that can only benefit them, I feel. And this is something that they have to show now, if that's actually the case. So I'm pretty excited for this one. Naisha's Memento taken here on the side of Maiev as the level 1 talent. Besides that, we're seeing immediate pressure to the top lane where Dami and Good and Malthian and Genji are already wrecking structures and trying to give a slight lead in experience to their team.
SPT not as quick as MVP Black, or excuse me, formerly MVP Black, KSV Black, to react to this type of lane swap here, but they do get up here regardless. There's the CC in the early game. Normally we see this in the 3 to 4-man rotation between mid and bottom, but sometimes you get greedy, as Tempest has. The rotation is obviously coming, but the you know, the CCs that SPT have cannot be overstated. It's insane, and we've seen this already once today. This exact draft.
And it's the displacement again. You see the immediate flip with Garrosh, the silence is there, and you add so much more displacement later on into the mix as well. Here we have once again the tether being used. Sign is in trouble, and that could be the second kill here. Iron Skin has already been used, and Johanna is down. SPT with 2 kills against 0.
Tons of damage coming in through here from Malthael, though. I just don't think it's going to be enough. They can heal through now using Stukov. He does drop the silence, not going to be able to stop good there, but Iron Skin, we saw how it can be used to give some more presence to Johanna in these moments, but can't stop a body block. He used it there at the last second. It got him away from the CCs, but the body block there just prevented him from escaping. And SPT is doing exactly what this comp is supposed to do in the early game. And post 10, I have to say, Calder, it's going to get a lot stronger. It's going to get a lot scarier.
I just try and put myself into the shoes of Tempest. They already lost against KSV Black, and now they're confronted with the same draft again, and they must be thinking, oh my god, please no, not again.
Another death
goes down, and it's 3 kills against 0 in favor of SPT.
Might be even more here, Calder. Good's trying to heal up. Does end up grabbing the kill on Zeratul, but it'll be a trade. Soap is going to just barely jump over that.
The Pizza King.
Oh, the vision from the blind.
He dies. Soap the Pizza King is dead. All right, so I mean, generally speaking, if you look at what we're seeing right now, we have still a slightly inexperienced for SPT. They are very aggressive. They have 4 kills against 2, and they are not showing any signs of respect here. And I actually like that quite a lot for this series.
Yeah, it's just basically dominating everything Tempest is trying to do on the map. Tempest is trying to play a macro-oriented game, but they're getting punished. Look, this is going to be another one. Sorry, Lockdown, not getting out of this one. Every time they try to go into a different wave to get more experience, every time they try to grab one of the shrines, SPT is there. And because Tempest is staggering their deaths so badly, they're never really able to contest as a 5-man group or try to out-rotate SPT. They're one step behind. I think they need to kind of reset, play a little bit more defensively. I like them taking this Night Camp at least to take some control away from the top lane.
Yeah, the Night Camp is going to help them a lot because it's definitely going to put the pressure onto SPT and they won't be able to roam this freely. But they still take the Dragon Knight, and that's a big problem. If Tempest could have interrupted here, that would have been great for them. But now we have the Korean team dealing with the first objective in the game, 3.5 minutes in. And that Dragon Knight is going to get value and structures and just snowball that experience lead that we see for
It's
SPT.
pushing them closer and closer to 10. That was such a slick move by ZZH to actually get the perfectly placed silence to prevent Johanna from using a shield glare to stop the Dragon Knight. I love seeing plays like that on Stukov. I know it sounds like a simple thing to do, but it actually takes a lot of skill to know when to use that cooldown to make sure you can get the Dragon Knight. They're going to actually commit to even damaging this fort, just try to get the maximum value out of the Dragon Knight in terms of what its health pool is here, rotate away. And if Tempest tries to chase or punish, SPT can turn this fight in a second. So I love what they're doing. Notice because it's Maiev in there, they're able to be very aggressive. She could always just jump away, or maybe even get some tethers if Tempest stayed too close.
And Soap immediately also just threatens to re-engage here. And this is something that Tempest has to be worried about, especially since they're missing a lot of vision on the other heroes on the map. And with Garrosh missing, that's always a problem. If he hides in the shadows and can follow up on any tether, on any stun or silence, then you are in deep trouble. So now SPT with a camp on their own, trying to repay Tempest in kind, but they have taken that level lead already, and they are looking good in this first
This
game.
Night Camp timing is going to look a lot better than what Tempest's Night Camp tried to accomplish. They ended up losing the Dragon Knight regardless. Now SPT can try to make a move for the neutral Night Camp bottom, now that they've taken this, force a rotation from Tempest top. If they don't get the neutral camp bottom after clearing this, that's okay because the Night Camp at top is still going to gain value and they're pushing for that level 10.
I'm personally still asking myself, is this really something where SPT was flexible enough to watch a series of Tempest and KSV Black earlier, see the draft and say, this is one of our strongest maps, this is a draft that we can pull off, let's go for it? Or is that something that has been planned for days already and then KSV happened to play the same combo? Maybe the two teams scrimmed each other and, you know, just like took a hint for another from each other, but that feels... It's really cool to see it. I just want to know, how much credit do I give SPT for this? Do they really react this fast to it? Or is it just something that both teams said, okay, this works perfectly on the map?
Well, it's funny because the other side of the coin, as they do grab that Night Cap I was talking about, the other side of the coin here for SPT is Tempest drafted the exact same way against KSV Black as well. They have the same draft that they picked up against Black. It's not just that SPT just happened to get this. Tempest did everything the same, so for SPT, if they prepared this, it's easy to go, okay, well, everything is according to plan. I've seen this before, like literally the exact same draft. So SPT's got their 10s now, Warden's Cage, these combos that you can make with this become so terrifying now. You can even use the shove from Stukov to add some extra CC to the mix. Here comes a little bit of an invade from Tempest to try to control this shrine. They've got their 10s now as well.
You're absolutely right. The only hero that got switched out on Tempest's side is that we don't see Thrall and have instead Li Ming for the second reset here. So it's more or less a rematch with different teams that we're seeing between the two comps. The tether comes in, silence immediately supplied, and the cage is down as we see the shove coming out. Johanna not part of the fight for now. And Junkrat immediately also with the Riptide here, zoning them out, no kills.
Okay, I don't want to be too critical, but that was definitely not the KSV Black level of execution of that type of cage. It was the shove completely missed. They zoned everybody away, and then the Riptide came out. Still looked scary, but I think the next one we see is probably going to be a little bit better executed.
They didn't get any kills, but at least they got the zone control, so that really helped them. So they got control over the bottom shrine. They still have a slight lead in experience, but of course they sacrificed some heavy cooldowns for it. But here they're going in, the Divine Shield barely saving Genji, and in comes the Dragon Blade as they're trying to re-engage. ZZH already low, Stukov has to be careful here, and he's the first one to fall as they're trying to make the play for Garrosh, who goes down.
So low here. They're looking to try to make something happen. The follow-up after the Void here under this fort. Good is going to heal up. They're going to be able to barely get away here. Concussive not enough to kill Good. Looks like Maiev did go down meanwhile. One of the cool parts about that engage for Tempest was actually the Wave of Force. The way the Wave of Force was used there zoned everybody to the top of that wall that's got like 5% health left there that you could see just to the bottom of your screen. That's what allowed them to zone everybody out and get those kills. And for the first time this game, Tempest finally wins a fight, finally takes control of the map objective, at least for the moment being.
We still have SPT with the ability to zone out the Dragon Knight long enough to make sure that they recapture one of the shrines, which happens to be the top one. Maiev also in the last fight a little bit too aggressive towards the end and then getting hit by Malthael there for the final blow. That was of course unfortunate for Soap himself. But SPT is now still in a situation where they can start to apply some pressure. They have Junkrat at the bot lane as we see Malthael taking the camp again. And that could actually result in SPT getting another Dragon Knight if they are able to make the pressure play in the mid lane.
Yeah, Junkrat's already working on the bottom Siege Giants. They've got their own Siege Giant camp just now captured, so that's going to draw some of the attention away for Tempest. And then they can use that opportunity to try to channel the Dragon Knight. Malthael, though, has the Knight's top. He should be able to get that Sunshine, but he's gone, so this is an opportunity for a fight for SPT.
That was a really nice tether into the silence, actually, but Dami still gets out. Once Garrosh joins the fight here, though, and we are going to see the Warlord's challenge, that's going to be a huge problem for Genji in particular, and also, of course, for Li Ming, if Garrosh ever gets close enough.
I'm surprised Zeratil's going top here. He's going to deal with that Knight camp, but this is a huge fight opportunity for SPT. I feel it could end up being wasted at the moment because they have all heroics available. And they have this this Siege Giant camp pushing super hard at the moment.
Yeah, and with Junkrat being around and all the traps on the ground, it's so difficult for Tempest to move into the shrine at this point. So the control is safely in the hands of SPT, as we see Ava at the top lane. Still Zeratul locked into this battle with Malthael and the Knight camp.
I just feel like Melody C just can't accomplish anything here. Like, this isn't going to work. If they want to deal with the Knight camp, they need to send bigger support. And if they want to fight, they need to send Zeratul down to fight.
There we go.
There's a great grab. Oh, that Divine Shield, though! Perfectly played here. Looks like Dami is going to use the Dragon Blade for some extra speed to escape.
He needed to, since Zeratul was coming from the mid lane, but Uther still falling. Dami surviving, though, and the Dragon Blade actually allowed him the mobility to get away from Zeratul. They were looking for an opportunity to get Genji killed.
That's kind of crazy, but that's a huge heroic trade for SPT. They still win the fight. The cost is they lost the top fort, but they were kind of taking two half measures. They were sort of defending top and they were sort of contesting bottom. Finally, the rotation down from Zeratul meant they were able to get those picks. There's still a trade-off that they lost the top fort, but this could have been much worse.
The scary thing for me is that we haven't really seen too much 5-on-5 team fighting, and SPT has some frightening combos and synergy there. So this is something to look forward to later on in the game, as we're now seeing both of the teams starting to group up a lot more on the map.
Yeah, and that's we saw only one attempted combo that I feel like, again, we'll definitely see better execution of in the coming fights. And you know, that first fight's not indicative of what SPT is capable of, and it's going to get much worse from here. SPT, if they look to force that fight that I think they're looking for right now, then this could be disastrous for Tempest. But Tempest with map control, Maev's in the top. She is grabbing that Sunshine, so this is not going to be a channel.
And it's super awkward also for Tempest that they still have that camp pushing the bot lane where Li Ming is trying to do as much damage as possible on the defense, but the rest of SPT is now moving to the top, and Tempest has to react here somehow. This is going to be awkward. Riptire is in, and Malthael with an inevitable end already being used. Soap is in trouble. He could fall here as Malthael is trying to go for it, but once again the trade being used extremely well. Malthael goes down. Genji is already dead. The double kill for SPT.
This fight was so unrealistic for Tempest to try to take. Two of the members were cut off. They decided to engage, hoping the rotation would be fast enough. They underestimated their opponents massively there and ended up fighting a 2v4 fight while everyone else was being zoned out by Garrosh. They couldn't get in, and this ends up looking really silly. This should theoretically be a Dragon Knight finally again here for SPT. They got those 2 kills. Look at the mid wave. It's completely controlling the map. Li Ming somehow sneaks up top, but she might die for it. Here comes Melody C.
The thing is, she's not the only one. Uther is already on the way, but we have also Stukov joining the fun now. So he has the double channel, and this is going to be a Dragon Knight. Once again, SPT claiming the objective. And 12 minutes into the game, this bad boy is going to hit a lot harder.
Oh, certainly so. This is the fort that was damaged earlier from the first Dragon Knight of the game is going to be the first target here. Nice jump away from lockdown. That's going to eat a lot of damage on this Dragon Knight. But SPT is not just going for mid. They have a strong pushing comp with this Junkrat. They're going to start working on this bot camp as well. But this Dragon Knight, because of the good zoning from Li Ming here, hasn't gotten as much as they would have liked.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. That Dragon Knight hasn't done anything. We're currently looking at it at 30% HP, and that fort is still there. They're gonna lose it. Here comes the Junkrat Riptire once again. The shove absolutely massive here. Soap is also going for the cage, but at the end of the day, SPT is losing a lot of cooldowns, and can they actually kill someone here?
I don't think so.
Sign is still alive. Lockdown is also getting out of the situation. And the only thing the Dragon Knight did is get a fort that was already on
damaged.
half point. Like, what? That was...
I mean, it was really well done. The way that they used Li Ming to absorb that dragon kick, then teleport away, ate so much of the Dragon Knight's damage. Also, SPT used their heroics somewhat carelessly. They kind of threw them all in without a combo. And, you know, we asked the question at the beginning, did they study KSV Blackstrap? Did they think this is good? Is this a coincidence? It starts to feel more like this is a copycat draft because the execution just simply is not as crisp as you would expect.
But they still do way better than they expected them to. I mean, this is still their best map, but going up against the Korean team, they were in the underdog position, and they're still doing well here. But if they want to win this game, they can't just be this sloppy when they have the objective. That Dragon Knight should have gotten them a lot more value than it did. They still managed then afterwards to also take down the fort at the bot lane, thanks to the Siege Giant camp, thanks to Junkrat, but they need to get more value out of the objectives as they're able to claim against Tempest.
My only concern for SPT is that they've gotten a few picks and their comp has so much CC, but their big wombo combos, the things that we were saying are going to be so terrifying in team fights, the fights they have not executed well. We've been talking about the narrative of Tempest all tournament long about how they're so good at those late game team fights. One wipe, you win the game in the late game with long death timers. And that's where I feel like Tempest comes back in this game, is that they just win a team fight because SPT's combo execution is pretty weak.
The problem is, even without the combo fully hitting, they are still the team that has claimed by far most kills.
Yeah, 9
against 5. And also, even in the last one where they didn't kill anyone, they nearly got a double kill, and both had to retreat and move out of the fights. Tempest is not winning these team fights, but you're absolutely correct. If at any point they're getting the resets for Li Ming, for Genji, then this could turn in a flash.
This could be it. Soap's already used his jump here, does use the cage to escape. Void Prison is perfect here to zone them out. They need to escape here, though. They're continuing to run away. The Dragon Blade is going to chase them off. Nobody dies miraculously because that Void was so good, because the jump was so good there coming out from Soap, but a huge win for Tempest.
Massive cooldowns being used, though, and that's a problem. So at this point, we still have the Warlord's Challenge. That's always a threat against Li Ming, and of course against Genji too. So there's still a few tools available for SPT, but Tempest has used everything. Divine Shield is out, Dragon Blade too. And for SPT, I mean, trading the big cooldowns is, of course, a problem, but the combo itself, or the synergy between the heroes, is still insanely strong, even without heroics.
Let's see if they want to actually try to hold on to this to grab the Dragon Knight. Melody C's blocking good right now. Dami comes to the body block. They're not going to commit in the bot lane. They have this 2v1 here, but obviously it's Zeratul, so there's nothing to be found. Ends up being a little bit of a trade. SPT, though, is happy for a trade. They're ahead in structures. They're closer to 20 at the moment, so this is exactly what they want.
Exactly. You're making an extremely good point. The 20 is so close for SPT that it really worries me for Tempest, because once the Storm talents are in play for SPT, they should be able to get enough of an advantage to run with another objective, and that has to mean keep at that point. So let's find out if Tempest is maybe able to stall them out long enough to claim enough experience to close the gap and get 20 themselves.
Speaking of keeps, the night camp, the neutral camp they've just taken is marching directly towards the bottom keep. It looks like Tempest is trying to set up for a fight pre-20. Good block here on the bind using Iron Squid Skin coming out from Sign. But the night camp is going to become a problem. They had this small window of time they wanted to hit before 20 to force a fight. Unfortunately, they're unsuccessful.
Yeah, and this here is not where you want to fight if you're Tempest. This is way too risky, especially with all the AoE potential that we have for SPT. But they are going for that Siege Giant camp, and at this point, the invade is there. There's the steal. SPT goes for it. The flip is through as well. Dami able to escape.
Yeah,
but
good
it
cleanse.
Just shows the aggression that we have from SPT and the potential for quick kills.
And it just shows how much zone control they have. It was just one concussive mine. They didn't have to use heroics to win that fight. 20's up now, and this is when Tempest is really going to struggle to defend this keep.
Yeah, especially with the aura, and also there's giants in the back as well. Tempest is looking at this and they're saying, guys, why would we even go for the Dragonite? Let's get some value first, open up the bottom wall at least, maybe even go and make a play for the keep. But even if we don't get it, we already opened the wall, we can still make the play for the Dragonite, and then we can march through that bot lane, grab the keep, and if we get a kill, maybe even go for the core.
Yeah, I mean, this is what teams like SPT do so well when they're ahead. They just look for fights non-stop when they're up a talent tier. They roam as 5. They're going to split the Zeratul off right now just to try to grab a Dragon Knight. They roam as 5. They force fights. They invade camps. That's the Chinese style, and SPT is one of the best teams in China at that specific style. They've got a channeled Dragon Knight. Will they go for the Unleash here? They're going to have to send Zeratul down to look for a fight. Tempest, no, they know this is a 5v4. They're going to try to force it. Misaka is caught. He's got a lot of armor, though.
But they can get the Dragonite. They can get it. They didn't get the Shrine at the bot lane.
Oh,
Dragonite
huge mistake.
is channeled, and they didn't get the kill. A massive mistake from Tempest. They didn't leave anyone on the Shrine. They would have been able to stop it. Garrosh was trying to buy a bit of time, but he couldn't stay long enough without falling, so he moved away from the Shrine. But instead of staying, Tempest followed, trying to get the kill, but they didn't.
Yeah, that just feels like a shot-calling mistake here. Indecisive about whether they should capture the Shrine, look for the team fight. They got neither. Sure, they survived till 20, but this is an 18-minute Dragon Knight here already on this keep. And here they're going to try to look for the fight. Dami's kicked away, though, and there's a void.
That was a fantastic one. He just used Dragon Blade, and then the kick comes in, trying out for the NFL here already, making sure that he's not part of the fight.
But it's a 20 blade.
Stukov, and they are going, and he keeps it alive. They get the second. The resets are in, and all of a sudden, Tempest is saying, hello, boys.
Oh, man. Malthael does go ahead and buy back immediately using that level 20 here, and Dami's blade finally expires here with that final kill. Triple going down. It's going to be more than that. Misaka trying to look for an escape, but Lockdown's on the chase. Missiles do connect here. Great wave of 4s.
No mana, on the other hand, on the side of Lockdown. That's a bit of a problem, but Garrosh is so low, and now Good is coming in too. That's a massive issue. Maybe a counter kill here as we see Soap moving in, but he gets obliterated by Genji, and that's a full team wipe. 10 kills against 10 as Tempest is back to business.
The only thing Tempest isn't even on is structures. They're working on that at the moment, but they, as you say, even up the kills. They've caught up and actually, in fact, taken an experience lead with this team wipe. The Divine Shields we've seen in this game, despite the fact that they weren't fight-winning Divine Shields for the most of the game, that last one was just enough to keep the Dragon Blade going. It was just after 20, and we're talking like 5 seconds after 20, he popped the Dragon Blade, so he has that infinite Dragon Blade, quote-unquote, keeps it running. And SPT's combo fails again, and then the Dragon Blade just runs wild. Tempest, the late-game team fighting they're so famous for, brings them back into this game.
Yeah, and this is a massive problem for SPT, that again with the Dragon Knight, they didn't get the value that they wanted. Originally, removing Genji from the fight, actually, just because of the 20. As he re-enters it, he's able to keep the ult in long enough to get those kills. But at this point, you have to just ask, does SPT have that problem with the objective to get the value? Considering the lead they were in experience and how well they did on the map with the objective, with also structure control, they still now look at a scenario where they haven't taken a keep, and that's just a big problem if you cannot translate these advantages into late-game advantages.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if they had played a little bit more passively with that push that they had earlier with the neutral night camp, where they had the passive spell armor that you were talking about, and just force the keep down without trying to make a big fight happen. It would have been really better for them to, or a more realistic chance to get the keep. Because they wanted to fight in a position where Tempest finally had 20, they took the only fight that was a poor fight to take, and they're paying for it now.
The game, on the other hand, still not over. At this point, after 20, the slight leads and experience that we see don't matter as much anymore. It gives you a set advantage if you have the extra level, which can play a role in the team fight, but there is no talent disadvantage to be had anymore. So SPT can still, through a victory in a team fight, make sure that they come out victorious here on map number 1 of the best of 5 series. But of course, this is also a lot about rotations at this point, as we're seeing Melody C starting to sneak the top shrine again.
Yeah, he comes up here and sneaks it. He's already shown himself top. I think it's probably just the wizard minion up at the top lane with that Knight Camp. It's not really an impactful one at the moment. It's the top keep anyways. The wall's untouched at the moment. So not losing too much to grab that Sunshine, just making sure that Tempest isn't right here right now with 5, going to unleash the Dragon Knight. Tempest has a better setup here, though. They're setting up in this bush with very good splits to make sure that the combos that SPT has been trying to pull off with this composition we saw from KSV Black earlier today does not succeed. They've got good vision control. They've got wave control right now. SPT should not look to head into these bushes because there's nothing to be gained from that. There's not a single objective on the map. No camp. Only thing there is these shrines, and Tempest has vision, so if they try to take this is a risk I do not think they should be taking.
Yeah, but still Junkrat always making sure that nobody is in the bushes. The poke is being used. Yeah, the fight is at this point about to be forced. Junkrat in the back already going for the Riptire, trying to use it as a zoning tool here against Good in particular, starting to move in, and they're attempting to claim shrine control. Melody C is all the way up at the front as we see Dami starting to engage. He goes for the Dragon Blade, but immediately Shove is being used to remove him from the fight.
But he's still got the Divine Shield, and he's continuing to maintain this. Melody C just barely gets away. We're going to see Malthael coming in with Tormented Souls doing a ton of damage here. So all alone, no combos, not enough damage here. And this fight is going Tempest's way, Kaldor, it looks like.
Maiev is down, and Zeratul desperately looking for the kill, but Melody C is eliminated again. A massive shove coming out of CCH on Stukov, but the double kill against SPT already puts the Chinese team at a disadvantage.
This should be a Dragon Knight here. We're talking minute-long death timers right now for SPT. Even Dami can casually go home, grab some health with the Hearth here. And SPT, they've got Junkrat. That might be their best bet to delay this Dragon Knight.
Risky move now from SPT, actually moving towards the bottom shrine. But with Tempest going back, which they don't know, they can actually claim this and buy a bit of time for Maiev and Zeratul to come back.
Yeah, Tempest is probably so upset they actually went back, because had they not gone back, they could have just won this fight. This buys only seconds, though, for SPT. 20 seconds still left on Maiev and Zeratul. Here's the Unleash in mid. It is going to be good grabbing this Dragon Knight. This Dragon Knight should get a keep no matter what, but if SPT isn't careful, it could get more. Luckily for SPT, Dragon Blade's still 40 seconds. That's been the big team fight winning tool for Tempest.
It definitely has been. And also, thanks to the delay on the bottom shrine, we now have the 2 heroes back. Maiev already on the way to the front line, where Zeratul just respawned. But of course, this DK is going to wreak havoc here at the bot lane. 12 kills against 10. And this is Tempest looking for an opportunity to get ahead.
Yeah, and because it's Malthael inside the Dragon Knight as well, as soon as he pops out, he can actually go and look for a fight. They need to be careful and just try to zone as well as they can. We're going to see a grab here attempted onto the Dragon Knight. Unfortunately, not successful, of course. The Dragon Knight goes for a kick here. The keep is down. Will Tempest look for more? That's the real question here. Warden use. That's not really going to do anything against the Dragon Knight either. Maev's trying what she can. The Dragon Knight's going to go down. Tempest looking for a fight, exactly as I said. As soon as the Dragon Knight goes down, Malthael looks for the Tormented Souls.
But with a cage, at least they zoned the rest out, and now Sign is losing a lot of hit points here. Can they deliver maybe a kill and get close enough? That's what they're trying to do right now. With Soap moving in on Maiev, they are going for the chase, but they have lost not more than the keep. So SPT is still in an okay spot. Question is, can they chase for a kill here? And they're definitely trying to.
They're looking for it. We'll see if the Riptire comes out. That's going to be the burst they're looking for. Unfortunately, Tempest gets the stun. The root's there as well.
And there's the kill against Malthael. And of course, we have the Dragon Blade coming in, but it's also Li Ming who dies. And everybody on the side of Tempest is so low in HP at this point.
The Dragon
Another
Blade
kill. Uther is down. He's going to come back, but Dami is on the run. And Uther is just going to die his second time.
Yeah, he's going to die a second time. But the problem is the Dragon Blade just wasn't enough to, or it was Bulwark, I guess, in this case, but it wasn't enough for Dami to burst down the Riptire or fast enough. And SPT looks like they're just going to take this game, Kaldor. They're not committing to the keep, though. They're going to grab this camp. They want to try to end this game for sure with the Siege Giants. This buys some more time for Tempest.
They're waiting for the wave to come in as well, and they have now 3 heroes against them since Malthael once again came back right away. So at this point, the keep is already on half HP, and Tempest might just have lost the game. Let's see if SPT can clean it out. 60 seconds for Dragon Blade, and that's the big problem. Also for Bulwark, for the Divine Shield, we have another 20, and they're going for it. SPT, it is in their own hands right now. They have the tools they need to end this game.
Okay, here comes the cage. We also see Johanna just trying to put out as many blinds as she can. Great Blessed Shield here. Comes Dami doing a ton of damage. ZZH is out. SPT cannot end this game now. Reset's coming through.
Malthael is dead though, but we have Lockdown back to business, and the keep is gone. They might even get the kill against Johanna again. That was a fantastic tether, but they still have the 20, and Johanna should definitely fall here, but she's able to walk away. Genji on the other hand is down. Junkrat is dead.
Lockdown, Divine Shield. He's going, and it's going to be a wipe. Melody C, the last one left.
Melody C is trying to buy some time here. That looked so fantastic for SPT, and now they have 4 heroes dead. Only Zeratul is still in. He buys some time, but how much do they have? 3 heroes alive, Li Ming, the main damage dealer. Is that enough to go for the core at this point?
I don't think so. I think they could just go for a Dragon Knight here.
Will.
Dragon Knight, look for a core, I guess, with the Dragon Knight. They could go for a second keep if they're really feeling like it's not safe.
27 minutes in, I think they're fine.
Yeah, that's true. We are 27 minutes in. The Dragon Knight probably just sneezes on the core and kills it at this point. But I cannot believe that that occurred. I was so sure that SPT was going to turn tail and run the first time when ZZH died. Then they were able to get everyone insanely low except Lockdown, who is always positioned perfectly to get those cleanup kills.
I mean, 27 minutes into the game, I just expect the Dragon Knight to throw his axe across the map onto the core and one-shot it. There's no way you hold this.
Even the Dragon Knight just walks over to the core and says GG, and the core explodes. Hey, the minion's delayed. This is going to be locked out and grabs this Dragon Knight. Respawns are through. They have Void Prison.
Stukov nearly grabbed it, by the way, at the bot lane, the shrine. He nearly got it. But now we are seeing the Dragon Knight just marching through, and SPT does the only thing that they can do.
They have to somehow fight away from the core.
They have to force it down before it reaches the core, but I just don't know how. And Tempest delayed it so that they can use the Dragon Knight with the rest of the team, with making sure that everybody else is back. And I just don't think there's a way for SPT to stop this.
Warden's Cage just trying to zone everybody out so they can focus on the Dragon Knight. Still at 70% health, but look at how much damage it does. Looks for a kick here, though. The core's doing a lot of damage. There's the BP, granting stasis, but Dami's got the Dragon Blade, and this has been the story of the late-game Tempest on this first map.
1, 2, 3, dropping them all here, and that's just the Genji show that we're watching at this point. It's a quad kill, and Junkrat alone is not going to stop this one. GG as Tempest barely takes game number 1. 21 kills against 50.
Yeah, 36 kill game. We're looking at level 25. Dragonshire has a reputation for going late game in Asia, for being the longest